Tonight, Boston, from the jump, I felt they played harder. Again, first quarter differential, similar to the other night. 7 turnovers to start that quarter, which is similar to the other night. But they, loose balls, little things, even offensive rebounds early in the game as well. The little things were problems, and a lot of that added up throughout the entire game. So regroup, and we'll head back home for Game 3.
Coach, just a lot of the same problems as Game 1, as you mentioned, and a lot of them have to do with the urgency and intensity level. And obviously it's something that you guys have talked about for the past couple of days. How hard is it to feel like maybe the message is falling on deaf ears?
No, I don't think it's falling on deaf ears. I think what's important is that every guy, what we've talked about is you got to be ready to play. We tried multiple different options today in terms of big lineups, small lineups, different guys that hadn't gotten opportunities. Some guys showed some things, others did not. But it's in a series, you have to, and in the postseason, you have to be ready to play right when you step on the floor. This isn't a get comfortable, find my rhythm. No, your rhythm has to start before you enter the game.
Joe, Nick Friedel, ESPN. Why do you think Jabari continues to struggle so much in this series?
Well, there's a lot of things that we'll have to go back and look at on the film. But he's another one of those guys. He's one of those guys that we need to pick up what he needs to do on the floor. He's got to be assertive. But when we say that, a lot of times people will think, oh, that's offensive. He's got to look for a shot. And no, we need everybody to be out there to guard, to defend, keep the ball in front of him, in front of them. We have to be able to fight through screens. Can't get confused on screens. Like one guy cut back door, one guy miss him, freeze, then the guy comes up for a wide open 3. So, Jabari is one of those guys, but all our guys have to be ready to go out and defend and play at a higher level than we did tonight.
Coach Bob Schron, the Citizen over here. How you doing? Was it their defensive intensity? I know you talked a lot about 50-50 balls, but was it that, and were they doing anything different against Chris tonight?
Actually, I would say, we shot a good percentage. Again, the 7 turnovers to start the game set a bad tone. Go down 11 to start the game, end up with only 15. But they end up with 13 more shots than us. And a lot of it is, again, there's plays in the first quarter and throughout the game where they're diving on the floor. And it's all the way through. We've got to get that all the way through. There's no wiggle room here. We need to come out with more of a sense of urgency right from the beginning of the game and impose our will on the game.
Coach Steve Belpet, Boston Herald. Is there anything that Jaylen Brown's been doing specifically, or is it just more that he's finding the openings in their that are created?
Well, there's a lot of they're putting him in. He's playing hard, hustling, coming off of screens. He's cutting hard. In particular, one of the plays that, like I just mentioned, he's the guy cutting back door that sets up a shot for another guy. But they've got a lot of guys playing well right now, and we've got a few, and we're going to have to respond and play a heck of a lot better. But you go up and down their list, they got multiple guys in double figures. Again, shot the 3 ball well, 40+%, and we're going to have to defend that better. He was one of the guys, obviously, that shot quite a few and made quite a few. So give them credit, but we have to play better.
Joe, Mike Petralia, CLNS Media. Do you get the sense at all that Giannis is taking too much on his shoulders, or he's being asked to do too much? Guys are watching him.
I think there's possessions, where we as a team will either dribble too much or not get our proper spacing and not move the ball as well as we need to. But there are sets where we actually get him in position where we do want him to try to attack off the dribble, try to, get the defense to collapse, which they're going to do most of the night anyways, and then be able to kick out. I think there were quite a few possessions tonight where we weren't spaced the way we needed to be spaced. And when I say that, utilizing the corners, getting there, and then making sure we stayed there instead of either creeping in towards the basket or moving up out of the corner. I think the biggest thing for us is we want, like I said earlier, we want to be aggressive and assertive with how we play, but we also have to make sure we get to the right spots on the floor. Overall, I thought he played a good game, but as a team, we and he need to be a lot better.
Coach Taylor Snow, Celtics.com. Boston just turned the ball over a handful of times all game. How much did their ability to take care of the ball factor into the result, and how do you guys be more disruptive on the defensive end moving forward?
Well, so that's, the more shot attempts that we alluded to earlier, that's a big reason. We have 15, they have 5. We've got to do a better job. That's one of the things we do well. We disrupt teams' offenses with our length, whether it's steals, deflections. The other night we had a lot of those balls where we had tipped and didn't come up with them, but that's part of what we do. And we've, like I said, we have to be sharper. We have to take on individual challenges and guard our guys, but we also have to defend as a team as well.
Kane Pittman, pick and roll. Joe, Chris obviously came off a great game in Game 1. And he finished off well in the second half here, but he didn't get his first shot up until 6:17 to go in the first half. Mm-hmm. Is that something that you were actively aware of at the time and trying to get him a look? And what was the cause of that?
Yeah, for our team, at the end of the day, I think Chris and Giannis played very well, shot the ball well. We shot 60% from the field. I think the biggest thing that we know Chris is going to find his shots throughout the game because he's a versatile player. There are sets that we will call for him, and we'll get him, he'll get his shots and get his looks. And we do want to make sure that early in the game he is getting quality looks. That having been said, I don't think our offense was necessarily a huge problem. At times, we've got to move, as we alluded to, we have to move the ball better. We have to make sure that we're trusting our teammates and not playing in a crowd. We've talked about that. It's the other end of the floor where, like I said at the beginning, offensive rebounds, which weren't as big of a problem in terms of numbers, but 20 second chance points. Like I said, I think our defense has to get a lot better. Not saying that our offense doesn't, but our defense has to get a lot better.
Malcolm Brogdon didn't play in the fourth quarter at all. Just what goes into that decision, and how can you, and kind of, since it's the last question, what did you think of Shabazz Muhammad's play tonight?
Yeah, that's what I would say is Shabazz had a good stretch early. He's earning the right to be out there. I think in the second half, I would say he wasn't as good as he was, but overall I liked what I saw from him. Sterling, I thought, came in and did a really nice job for us while he was out on the floor. There were a few mistakes, things that we can address, and we will as a team. But I think, in general, our bench, we need somebody to come off, and we're trying to, like I said, we looked at multiple options, multiple combinations of players, trying to find some answers to a lot of the issues that we addressed. And, I think a guy like Malcolm has to be ready to go, and I know that he will be.